Oh my God. Oh, wow. Hey guys, it's Mike Chen. As you know, noodles is probably one of my favorite things in the world. Well, noodles and dumplings and hot pot. Okay, there's a lot of stuff I love. I think I'm at a good first stop right here in Jeju. We're gonna go have a local specialty called meat noodles. Love the name. Let's go. So with this meal, I got two different types of noodles. One is soup and one is more sauce. And the soup noodle has a creamy looking broth, strands of eggs, sesame, scallions, carrots, and black pork meat inside as well. And all the noodles here are handmade. These look like they have a lot of chew, good texture. This is the famous meat noodles here in Jeju, and they call this donbae, which is the process of cooking a massive amount of black pig in a pot. Wow, so clean, so much porky flavor. This is the perfect noodles for your stomach. It's not very acidic. It's such a soothing, calming broth. I just took out a little just to experiment. But a little bit of chili, bit of salt, some pepper. All right, I might have added just a tad more salt than I should have, but really, ain't nothing wrong with how it was before. Dip my pork in the shrimp sauce a tiny bit. Jalapeno for spice. A little bit of onions for some crunch. This looks like a one-biter. Wow, so much difference in texture from the crunch of the onions to the jalapenos to the crunchy cartilage. And don't sleep on this awesome pork. Also, let's not forget the second noodles here. These noodles are stir-fried and it looks like chili sauce, little bits of mussels, and this is what they call stone octopus here. And I never seen this before, but it's a side of rice with bean sprouts, and of course some seaweed. Just look at this. Oh, this is, did they like capture the kraken and bring it to my plate? I was told you mix the rice with this spicy sauce. The rice is all nicely mixed. Really nice fragrance from the sesame oil. The chili is not as spicy as it looks. Stir fry. God, I love that texture. A little more al dente, a little more chewy than the ones in the broth. It's clinging to that sauce so well. How do I even start to eat this? Luckily, they give me these. I'm gonna try a piece of the octopus. I was afraid this thing was gonna be a little too tough. This is love me tender gentle. I was just informed by my local friends here that what I was supposed to do is cut everything, cut the noodles, cut the octopus, and just mix this whole dish together and then eat it like that. That's what I'm gonna do. That's the greatest thing. Don't get me wrong, I love the noodles in the broth, but this is on a whole different level. Oh, and the octopus and all the seafood in this plate, all caught locally. That's why you're not gonna get anything fresher than this. All right, I'm gonna finish up, but like I said, this noodle adventure, it's just getting started. Next up, I'm going back to Seoul for some more noodle fun. See you in a bit. Hi, back in Seoul, and the noodle tour continues. My first bowl of noodles back in Seoul was one of my all-time favorites, both in Chinese and Korean cuisine, Jajangmyeon. And this dish, of course, is a Chinese-inspired dish. That's why we're at a Korean Chinese restaurant. Now, besides having supposedly amazing Korean jjajangmyeon, this place also has another popular dish called sweet and sour pork. And I could smell that as soon as I walked in the restaurant, so we'll get a plate of that too. Now, this is a typical northeastern Chinese dish. Chunks of pork fried on the outside, sweet and sour sauce poured all over. It's supposed to be crispy and sweet and vinegary all at the same time. A little preview before the noodles. Oh my god, that was so good. I momentarily forgot why I was here. Not overly sweet, definitely vinegary. Perfect contrast of crispy on the outside, tender, meaty on the inside. That was one of the best versions of that dish I think I've ever had. So regardless of the noodles, come here for this. My jjajangmyeon is finally here. Fresh cucumbers on top. Usually the noodles are homemade. Of course, tons of onions. This is actually a lot different than the typical Korean jjajangmyeon that I see a lot, which comes in very, very black fermented bean sauce. Get those two dishes, eat them together when you come here. And actually what you see here with this type of sauce that's less dark than I think the more common type of jjajangmyeon you typically see, at least in the US. This is actually the more typical traditional Korean jjajangmyeon you will find in Korea. And the other type, you know, with tons of onions with a black soybean sauce, that's actually a more modified version. I mean, they're both traditional, but this is the more typical version. This was just pure comfort food for me. My foodie soul feels warm right now. Anyway, like I said, this is a noodle adventure, so let's keep going. Sorry, I had to interrupt this noodle adventure for a very important bingsu break. Because in between noodle dishes, you gotta have some bingsu. I love fluffy, snowy bingsu. Oh yeah. It's like catching soft, fluffy, flavorful snow on your tongue on Christmas Day. Top 3, maybe the best bingsu I've ever had. Alright, sorry not sorry for this deliciously sweet interruption. Back to more noodles. Hey guys, I'm at the next noodle location. This is a noodle I've never had before. Soybean noodles. Let's go check it out. And this is kimchi rice. There's zucchini, kimchi, of course, onions. It looks like small chunks of beef. And they're just stir frying this entire thing right in front of me. And this is something I'm getting in addition to my noodles. So kimchi noodles are a really popular noodle dish here in Korea, but only in the summer. You're not gonna be able to find this in the winter because this is a cold noodle. And what's really interesting about this noodle is that the noodles themselves are not obviously made from soybeans. This broth is essentially just freshly ground soybeans and some salt. That's it. And this restaurant is the #1 place for soybean noodles in all of Korea. This is so exciting because I've never tried anything like this before in my life. This really thick broth. This is almost like a smoothie type consistency. Okay, this noodle dish it's really fairly simple. There's really nothing in here besides the noodles and the soybean soup. Oh, that's interesting. This is an extremely cooling, refreshing bowl of noodles. I feel like if you do not like soybeans, you're not gonna love this. It's smooth, but you can definitely taste the soybean in this strong soybean flavor. And every single bite, you definitely feel the remnants, like the little micro soybean particles on your tongue. But if you never really had tofu or soy milk or not really familiar with soy products before, this might catch you by surprise because the flavor profile is really strong. Oh man. Oh. Wow. Paired with the noodles, that's where it's at. The noodles, extremely springy, al dente. I'm thinking this is gonna be awesome. Even better than I thought. All right, I'm gonna finish this up because it's hot outside, and I'll see you at the next noodle place. Oh, and by the way, I should really apologize to the kimchi rice because this is a noodle video and I really kind of failed to mention it, but I'm sorry. This is a noodle video. You understand, right? I know I hurt you, but I'm gonna make this right by eating you up. So for this next noodle stop, we're gonna heat things up. This dish is called bibimbap noodles. Bibimbap means to mix. And when I get this noodle dish, I'm supposed to mix it all up and eat it. So here it is, bibimbap noodles. And the first time I think I've ever seen kale on top of any noodles. Kimchi inside, some cucumbers. And I love that every thin strand of noodles is just bombarded by flakes of chili. First bite of spicy noodles today. Inside this lava-looking pool of spice in which my thin, delicious noodles are soaking in. This is home for me. This is everything I hope for, everything I desire, everything I love in a bowl of cold noodles. The noodles themselves, incredibly chewy. This both heats me up and cools me down at the same time. Also, got some dumplings. This should fit so well with this. Very typical Korean steamed dumplings. The filling is huge, but it's also very soft. Way less chewy filling than what a Chinese dumpling would offer. Dipping sauce is very simple. Could use some hot oil. Just some soy sauce. But really, come on. You know where we should be dipping this, right? Yeah. Because it tastes a whole lot better. That was definitely my favorite noodle of the day. This restaurant is called Gogi-dong Buckwheat Noodles. This place is about a 30-minute drive from Seoul. It's 11:30. They basically just opened, and we have to wait in line. It's completely packed. This restaurant really just specializes in buckwheat noodles. In their menu, there's only a couple of options. You can either have the spicy buckwheat noodle or the perilla oil buckwheat noodle. That's it. There's only 2 types of noodles here. And then they also serve some pork meat that I, of course, have to get. This is the mixed buckwheat noodle. Actually, this is the only noodle that you'll see on the menu. On top is a slice of Korean pear sitting on this little mound of chilies. And then right underneath, some strips of eggs, some cucumbers, and all that is just sitting on top of a delicious, glorious looking tower of noodles. And this, you just gotta mix it around. They came over, actually helped me mix the noodles, so now the sauce is nice and integrated. I love noodles for breakfast. Oh my God. Oh wow. I need 10 more bowls of this. If you guys never had buckwheat noodles, you're really missing out. It's one of my favorite types of noodles. I've been eating this since I was a kid in China. Every single bite just takes me back to my childhood. The texture. So smooth and chewy. The chili's not overly strong. Flavor is really balanced. That is a refreshingly delicious bowl of noodles I could eat every single morning for the rest of my life. Before I talk more about that, I have to get to my second bowl. This is actually not listed on the official menu here. Especially a Korean secret menu item. It's buckwheat noodles with perilla oil with sesame seeds and seaweed covering the top. And they told me I can't mix it. I'm not supposed to mix it. I'm supposed to just eat it until I'm about halfway done or 2/3 of the way done. And then I'm gonna add the broth. It's so incredibly fragrant. Yeah, I just need to say something to these noodles really quickly. I know we just met like 10 minutes ago, but I love you. I really do. These noodles are some of the most unique, tastiest, most fragrant noodles I've ever had. Holy moly, this is amazing. It's flavored in all the right ways. It's like my head and all my senses are just swirling in the sesame fragrant cloud. Yeah, that's definitely going on my noodle must-try list, for sure. I mean, those noodles are not gonna be the most well-seasoned, so if you like something really salty, that might not be your cup of tea, but for me, the sesame seed and the perilla oil and all the fragrance from all the ingredients in there, I love that. Also, Got some pork. I mean, they're not known for pork, but most of my noodles for the last couple of days had no meat in them, so. I mean, it's not Jeju black pig, but still pretty good. Oh, also, I'm so glad this place, you can order extra noodles for 4,000 won. So about $3.50, $4. I think that's pretty much needed. Oh, this is so awesome. Check this out. So I ordered 2 extra helping of noodles, and I thought for the 4,000 won, which is the half price of the of my first order, it'd just be like half the noodle size. No, you get a full on another order of noodles. And the auntie told me like, I gotta eat this really quick because buckwheat noodles get soggy really, really quickly. This is the soup version. It's really simple broth. I think this is pork broth with just a bit of salt. Halfway done with these noodles, and I gotta pour it. They told me to pour this broth in. I don't know how it just got better. Oh my gosh. All that fragrance is now in the soup itself. Oh man, this is a noodle lover's dream right here. I'm gonna add some of that broth into the spicy noodles as well. I just had a radical thought. Broth with the perilla oil and the sesame and the seaweed. I want some of that flavor in this spicy noodle. Let's see what happens here. Just a little bit, let's see what happens. I like it. Spicy, sesame, seafoody, yummy. And this is a true local place. I mean, it takes some effort to get here. But if you guys like buckwheat noodles, and not everyone does, and you want a really unique noodle experience here in South Korea, this is where you go, because what a gem of a place. All right, we only got one more place left on this noodle tour, so I'm still hungry. Let's do it. I heard this is amazing. This is their signature cold mixed noodle, and this is their hot soupy noodle. These are the 2 noodle dishes that people come here for, so that's what I'm gonna get. Got my 2 noodles, and this is the broth one, and this is the cold spicy one. The soup one looks like arugula, scallions, tofu skin. Oh, look at this, noodles on the bottom. Just a fantastic shine, it's like a sunken treasure. Cold version, again, arugula, egg, cucumbers, cabbage, bunch of sesame seeds, tons of chili, and what looks like little bits of seafood on top. Noodles again on the bottom. And what I was told before coming here was that these will be some of the chewiest, spongiest noodles I can find in Seoul. This is anchovy broth. Very, very flavorful. I was promised extremely, extremely chewy noodles, and I got extremely, extremely chewy noodles. I thought the soupy version of the noodles were chewy and elasticy. Nah, meet the Mr. Incredible version of noodles. These are by far the chewiest, spongiest, most elasticy noodles I've had in Korea. And the sauce is absolutely marvelous. They actually have 3 degrees of spice. I wanted a 3rd one, but they convinced me to get the 2nd one because they said the 3rd level of spice, I really won't be able to taste any flavor. This is so amazingly good. I love this. I think on the spice level, this is a little spicier than like the fire ramen noodles. A little spicier than that. But the biggest difference is eating this, it's not a food challenge, it's a food pleasure. Well guys, that pretty much wraps up my noodle tour of South Korea. I mean, this is my longest noodle tour ever, spanning over 2 cities and over 3 days. But I got to try some of the most amazing, unique noodles that this country has to offer, and I'm sure I haven't even begun to scratch the surface. But that's why noodle adventures are so much fun, because they never end. I think if I had to pick one favorite. Flavor-wise, I love the jjajangmyeon. Texture-wise, these noodles win hands down. The most unique has to be the soybean, and the one that gave me the feels the most, which I have to say is the sesame buckwheat noodles I had this morning, which really brought me back to my childhood. If you also want to go on a noodle adventure, I've listed all the places I went to in my description box below. Most of these restaurants don't have English names, so I'll put as much information as I can. And guys, as always, I really appreciate you following along. Thank you so much for watching. Until we eat again, I'll see you later.